Mình không đủ nhân vật da đen. Cái tác giả mà đóng cái giọng cho Signal đã đăng lên Twitter cũng nói về nhân vật không đủ đen. What the fuck? Hello YouTube. Hôm nay chúng ta sẽ react với cái Genshin Impact drama. Đương nhiên ai cũng sẽ thích drama. Nếu là mình là con người thì ai cũng sẽ thích drama. Cái update mới, cái update Natlan, tôi thật sự không biết cái up này là như thế nào, nhưng mà để coi cái video này sẽ nói về vấn đề gì.
So in my last video, I talked about the new Natlan update coming to Genshin Impact. And this is a massive update. This is going to be version 5.0. And obviously with every version change, we get an entirely new area to explore. And this one being Natlan. As I said, I made a video on this previously where I talked about a lot of the new characters coming. They released a lot of the voice actors and the early designs to them, such as like the Marata design.
Không phải Natlan. Oh my god, cái con này có phải là cái con lửa, thần lửa không ta? Nhìn hơi bị ngầu, nhìn đẹp phết. Ok, tiếp.
And also a ton of like other really cool characters that I can't wait to see in the game. And overall, it was looking pretty positive. And if you haven't watched the trailer yet, then Natlan seems to be some kind of like really like sunny, dry area. And it's supposed to represent a lot of places like Mexico and areas like that in real life, like the whole climate of it. Meaning that we should see a change in some of the looks of the characters, right? Well, it might be wrong. But before I get into the video. So as I said, they released a lot of these characters, and you may notice one thing that a lot of these characters have in common. Now, obviously, I'm saying most of them, not all of them are like this, but a lot of the characters are very pale looking. They are very white. Their skin color is very, very light, especially for an area that is, you know, supposed to be really sunny and really dry. They're extremely pale to the point where a lot of people are calling this out on Twitter and a lot of other places. And it has happened before. If you remember in the past when Vesumaru came out, a lot of people were expecting some of those characters to have some darker skin because obviously they have that whole desert.
Mình không đủ nhân vật da đen. Tóm tắt là vậy, right? Tại vì MiHoYo không dám làm nhân vật da hơi đen. Không biết tại sao, nhưng mà theo cái video này nó nói khu vực mới sẽ có cái ấn tượng giống như ở trong Mexico. Và Mexico thì bên đó cũng khá nắng giống như ở Việt Nam thôi. Nhân vật chắc chắn cũng sẽ bị giống như, chắc chắn cũng phải hơi đen xíu.
Area, so you know you would expect that. But again, we ended up with this image which was actually leaked before the release of the game.
Oh my god. 1, 2, 3. Không, 2 đứa con nít. Okay, never mind.
All a ton of like white, pale looking characters. And obviously people weren't happy that the area wasn't being represented in the characters as well. There's pretty much just too many white characters in the game.
Too many white characters.
This has been a big issue in Genshin for a long time now, but with Natlan, a lot of people expected this to change and there to be a lot more darker characters. Now obviously we've got Ianson here, who is a much darker skinned character, which again is really, really great. We've got Xenonen, who has a kind of like tan. I mean, she's not...
con này nhìn đẹp phết nhờ. Chắc là hệ Đức đúng không ta? Tôi không biết tiếng Việt sao, nhưng mà hệ Đức. Chắc vậy.
Anything as close as like Ianson or anything like that. I think she's definitely been made a lot whiter, and the same goes for Kachina as well. And also Mualani. They do have a kind of like darker skin tone, but we haven't seen anything like super dark or anything like you would kind of expect in an area like that. And that's kind of concerning. I mean, Ianson is pretty much the only one that I would say they've done a pretty good job on. Now, not only are the players getting involved in this, but also the voice actors from the game have actually said a little bit about this, and also some other like massive content creators for Genshin Impact, being Sayu. Now, if you don't know who Sayu is, he voices Sino in Genshin Impact. He's also the voice actor for Jingyuan, and just voices a lot of stuff in Hoyoverse in general. He voiced something in Zenless Zone Zero as well. I'm pretty sure it's some like cinematic thing. And he's just a very big English voice actor overall. And pretty much he has like two sides. So he has his like VTuber side where he does a lot of streaming and stuff, and then he has his main account where he just does his main like voice acting stuff. And on his streamer account, he quote retweeted this post, which I will get into, saying, "Finding this out, wow, this is bad. Like, I knew they were missing color, but wow, this is bad."
Wow. Cái tác giả mà đóng cái giọng cho Signal đã đăng lên Twitter cũng nói về nhân vật không đủ đen. What the fuck?
The tweet that he quoted is one saying that Olaran is the supreme Yoruba deity. You can find that with a quick Google search even. This is unforgivable. Look at what a sick job Smite did with their own interpretation. It's not hard. And pretty much they just show this, like, I'm pretty sure this is a Smite interpretation of it. I'm not sure if this is from the game or something.
Bây giờ ai mà chơi Smite? Right? Có ai chơi Smite ở đây không? Tôi nghĩ là mình có liên minh này chắc cũng ít người sẽ qua Smite, nhưng mà còn ai chơi Smite không? Để chứ không mình cho tôi biết thử.
But pretty much it depicts a black guy, and the image on the left here is one that is actually taken from a lot of mythology and folklore. And yeah, as you can see, he has much darker skin, and this is what they ended up making him. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like he's pretty white. And again, I'm not expecting him to look anything like these two characters, but at the same time, I think if they were going to take inspiration from a lot of this stuff, especially with a lot of religious and just cultural figures in these kind of areas, then they
Đúng rồi. Genshin thì nó có theo giống như nó có lấy về mấy cái nước ở trên thế giới thật, như Inazuma hình như là Japan, xong rồi Liyue là Trung Quốc, nên giờ nó lấy qua là ở ngay cái khu vực hơi nắng xíu, cũng giống như Mexico, thì đương nhiên nhân vật cũng phải đen xíu. Nên cái đó tôi hiểu.
should definitely try to stay true to the design and the overall look of the thing that they're trying to base it off of, rather than just completely changing it overall, because that is just not a good look for Genshin. I mean, this just does not look anything alike. I mean, you can barely see any kind of similarities, and you wouldn't even expect that they actually based it off of this character. And the only thing really keeping them connected is the name, which is Olera. Obviously, this is quite surprising that Sai actually called this out and said something about this, because However seem to be very cutthroat whenever it comes to, getting rid of voice actors, getting rid of staff whenever they speak out against the company and say bad things about the company. So again, it's very brave for him to do this, because they could easily just cut him off, and I wouldn't be surprised if However's do that.
Cổ vũ cho những người mà đứng ra và nói về Genshin. Nếu mà Genshin không có nghe cái lời của người chơi đang nói gì, còn nếu mấy cái tán giả mà nói ra cũng sẽ bị kick thôi. Nên mấy tán giả mà dám nói ra về Mihoyo, cái cách làm của Mihoyo sai này nọ này kia cũng khá là căng đạn.
But honestly, I don't think they will. It seems like a very, very bad move for Hoyoverse to just like cut him out now, especially for all the things that he's done for their company and for a lot of their games. So I'm pretty sure, Sayu is fine, and he knows what he's doing, and he knows how much trouble or how little trouble he's going to get in for tweeting this. But again, it is very surprising to see a voice actor talking about it though. And also we got in the replies to Ziox, a massive creator for Genshin Impact. We obviously saw him in the Xenozone Zero ads recently as well, so that's how close he is with Hoyoverse. So Hoyoverse really like to work with creators like him and also other creators in his friend group, etc. And he's also saying this is messed up, and I think it is. I think a lot of this evidence here is quite unavoidable, and I think a lot of the people involved with Genshin Impact, whether that's creators or a voice actor, are saying, hey, this is actually kind of bad, and maybe we do need to improve this, especially whenever we still got a little bit of time for Natlan to come out. Hoyoverse could easily make some changes in that time, and hopefully the community can actually get through to them. Now, this was a very interesting tweet that BXB put up. He pretty much talked about this entire thing, saying, so is Genshin racist? And he put, the answer is yes and no. All they care about is selling pixels. They'll throw it in a color character.
Liệu Genshin có racist hay không? Mấy bạn có nghĩ Genshin racist không? Hả? Không có da đen, holy shit. Không có người mập, oh my god. Đương nhiên tôi không quan tâm. Miễn sao nó nhìn đẹp là được.
It ain't that deep. And yeah, that is pretty true. I think a lot of this situation isn't actually that deep. And honestly, I think if you don't like the fact that there isn't enough darker characters in the game, I think, that's a totally valid opinion to have. But also, it's just a game at the end of the day, and it doesn't really matter too much. Unless maybe like every single character's white, because they have made some of an effort to give some of these characters a little bit of darker skin, which again, I can appreciate, but I think a lot of the players want a lot more from Hoyoverse, and as I said, that is totally valid to be asking for. But also, you gotta think that Hoyoverse is an Asian company that used to be based in China. I think they're now in Singapore. So obviously, that's gonna influence a lot of their design decisions whenever it comes to, the skin of a character. Obviously, if we look at a lot of anime and stuff in the past, most of the characters in that are white. And even in a lot of the older anime, if they tried to do some like depiction of a black person, they did a pretty poor job at it. But again, we're seeing more and more good characters coming into anime and also games as well. And they're slowly learning to kind of like diversify their casts. But it seems like Genshin Impact still aren't really at that point, but it seems like they are making somewhat of an effort. As I said, we've got like characters like Ianson, which they have tried, but I think people just want a lot more. As I said, like people were expecting, as Genshin Impact is a very, very global game and Hoyoverse do advertise it globally, then they should include a lot of these global character design traits to a lot of these characters. Else, a lot of people, across the seas, outside of China, outside of Japan, aren't really going to enjoy this. And we can see this on Twitter right now of everyone going absolutely insane. Because it's not just the voice actors and the creators that are going insane because of this. It's also a ton of the players that, aren't happy and they are like spamming Genshin Impact's replies and stuff. I saw a lot on the adverts of them, spamming that, hey, we want more like melanin in the character's skin. Yeah, overall, I don't think it is the biggest of deals, but again, it would be nice to see Genshin Impact maybe make a change and keep it more true to the actual design of the area, because honestly...
Okay. Theo cách tôi nghĩ thì đa số anime hoặc là những gì mấy bạn coi thì nhân vật lúc nào cũng sẽ là da trắng. Bạn thích hay không, nó sẽ là da trắng. Và nếu mà họ muốn làm da đen thì họ làm cũng khá là tệ, giống như trong video này đã nói. Và Genshin vẫn chưa đến cái mức độ mà có thể muốn làm nhân vật da đen hay là nhân vật mập hay nhân vật đô. Họ vẫn chú tâm làm mấy cái nhân vật hoàn hảo cho mình. Và theo đó tôi thấy cũng không có gì khác, không có gì lạ. Với lại cũng tôi cũng không nghĩ cái đó là cái vấn đề lớn. Nhưng mà theo tôi sơ qua Twitter, hình như cũng mấy nước khác cũng khá là tức, tại vì chúng mình không có đủ da đen. Yes, giống như tôi da nâu. Tôi cũng muốn một nhân vật có thể là da nâu như tôi. Nếu mà Genshin làm một nhân vật da đen xíu, có thể sẽ nhiều người thích. Nhưng mà nếu mà họ không làm, tôi cũng nghĩ là không có vấn gì lớn, không có vấn đề gì lớn. Kiểu là miễn sao là nó nhìn đẹp là ok. Mấy cái vấn đề về trong online Twitter đề cập gì mà oh my god, Genshin racist, Genshin so fucking racist. Một là miHoYo không có racist. miHoYo không biết làm nhân vật da đen, nhưng mà theo chúng mình thấy cái con Eon da đen cũng khá là đẹp. Tôi thấy cái design nó khá ok, nhưng mà tôi nghĩ là họ có thể làm được, chỉ có cái là họ không muốn thôi.
I just think it'll be better overall as well. It'll be much more immersive, as you know, having a ton of white characters in some really hot place just does not look very realistic at all. And I think it would just be better for the gameplay. Speaking outside of like political and just
mình không có thể nói về thực tế khi mình đang chơi cái game về có kỹ năng, xong rồi có fucking dinosaur, có khủng long đi vòng vòng biến thành khủng long, không có gì thực tế ở đây. Đương nhiên là nếu mà mấy bạn muốn thực tế xíu, giống như đang ở ánh sáng thì nhân vật sẽ đen xíu. Đương nhiên nếu mà miHoYo bỏ thêm mấy cái nhân vật mà da đen vô mấy cái chỗ mà nóng, mình sẽ ngâm bản thân mình vô được cái khu vực đó. Nhưng mà tôi nghĩ nó cũng không có cần thiết đến vậy.
overall character design choices and stuff like that. I think in the actual game itself, having some darker characters will actually just improve the overall game style. And yeah, I just hope that HoYoverse do make some kind of change in the future, or at least release a couple of characters that have some
miHoYo
darker
không bao giờ
skin.
thay đổi.
Yeah, overall, that is a very, very weird situation. I was not expecting this to, you know, turn negative at all. I honestly thought a lot of the Natlan teaser and stuff like that looked really good, especially as someone who hasn't been enjoying Genshin Impact recently. But again, it is HoYoverse, so they are always going to stir up a little bit of a storm, especially with a lot of their community who can be quite, you know, toxic and can be very vocal whenever it comes to a lot of things. But in this case, it's for a good reason, because obviously, you know, they're fighting for the designs of the characters and stuff like that. So again, we're gonna have to wait and see how this unfolds, and yeah, just let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. But that's about all I got for this video. If you did enjoy it, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.
Good video,
And
good video. Nếu mà mấy bạn thích có thể qua channel của Kasahana, tôi sẽ để ở dưới description, mấy bạn có thể qua check it out. Để một cái like cũng được. Vì này đề cập về tin tức của Genshin, tôi thấy khá là ok. Tôi đã mất bao lâu rồi? 2 năm. Tôi chơi Genshin khi nó mới ra, và trong tôi chơi khoảng 2 năm tôi đã bỏ nó rồi. Genshin quá nhiều drama, nhưng mà lúc nào coi cũng thấy mắc cười đó. Ở cuối ngày thì Genshin thì chỉ là một cái game thôi. Nếu mọi người thấy là game có thể được tiến bộ hơn, nếu mà họ làm nhân vật đa dạng xíu thì đưa lên tiếng, thì một là miHoYo sẽ nghe, và cái điều đó rất hiếm. Hai là thường chơi Genshin, thì cái này tôi không biết. Nhưng mà theo tôi thấy nó chỉ là một cái game. Mấy bạn thích character, mấy bạn thì cứ chơi nó, không có cần làm lớn giống như là tận thế vậy. Bạn thích nhân vật nào thì cứ chơi nhân vật đó. Nó có racist hay không thì cái này là tùy theo ý kiến của cá nhân của mọi người. Yeah. Nếu mấy bạn có ý kiến gì về cái update của 5.0 thì cứ để dưới comment. Tôi rất là tò mò ý kiến của mọi người như thế nào, và liệu Genshin có racist hay không, hãy để dưới comment. Nhớ like, subscribe. Tôi muốn làm mấy cái react video này thường xuyên. Nếu mấy bạn enjoy thì yeah, ấn cái nút subscribe. Và tôi hẹn mấy bạn sau. Peace.